This happened to me when I was 21, after an OD suicide attempt. I woke up in the hospital in the middle of the night to a nurse saying he needed to replace my IV. He jabs me 2 or 3 times but doesn't hit a vein, so I ask if maybe he could get someone else to try. He says no and keeps going. As he is doing this, he is pushing and wriggling the needles around under my skin, saying he is trying to get the vein. By the 7th or 8th needle, it registers that he is intentionally trying to hurt me. So I ask him, "Why are you doing this?" He just says, "It's your own fault you're here." I was far too weak to fight back, and it was in the middle of the night, so there was no one else around that I could call out to. I have no idea how many times he punctured me in the end. The next day, a different nurse was taking out my IV. She was horrified because she said it was the biggest needle she'd ever seen used on a living patient. A lot of people shrug this off when I tell them about it, but it was so terrifying being alone, helpless, and knowing that the person who was supposed to care for you hated you and wanted to cause you pain. So, yeah, night nurse who loves huge needles and hates mentally ill girls, let's not meet.
She walks out of work at midnight, every agonizing step being felt by her swollen feet. Having survived one of the busiest nights at the diner, she daydreams of things-to-do list that has to be tackled tomorrow and the hot bath waiting for her when she gets to her house. Suddenly, she is brought back to reality when she hears footsteps falling behind her. She strains to hear their rhythm, trying to assure herself it's just someone out for an evening stroll, or perhaps just needing to buy something at the corner store. Desperately, she tries to keep her heart from pounding so loud that the whole neighborhood isn't awakened. She picks up her stride and turns the first corner towards home, convinced her imagination is working overtime until she actually noticed the heavy falling footsteps turn the corner and quicken their pace. She turns sharply, ready to face the unseen stranger, but all she views is an empty sidewalk. Though no one appears to be around, the hair on the back of her neck stands up, warning her of impending danger. She looks around for anything that'll offer her safety, when she sees the local cemetery groundskeeper tending to one of the graves. Quickly she reaches the cemetery's large cast-iron gate and throws it open with a force that even surprises her. Running through the grounds, she is unaware that the footsteps have stopped short, refusing to enter this forbidden darkness of souls. She stumbles on the first mound encountered and scrambles to get up. Finally getting to her feet, she realizes something is preventing her from moving. Looking down, she sees dirt-encrusted hands rising from the bowels of the grave and encircling her ankles. She lets out a blood-curdling scream and fights desperately to get released, but the gnarled hands hang on with an unearthly strength. Kicking as hard as she can, she loses her balance, falls backwards and begins being pulled under the soft soil, down into the eternal darkness, down into the terror that lies beneath. Her fingernails claw at the empty air and she brings them down, where they settle on the handle of a shovel, left behind from work done earlier than the day. She lifts it in the air and comes down hard on the imprisoning hands. The grip loosens for a split second, time enough for her to break free and scramble from their reach. She quickly rises and looks for the groundskeeper, knowing he is her only chance to survive. "Over here," she hears someone yell. "Come over here, I can protect you." The voice beckons her to a lake in the middle of the grounds. Searching the area with her tired eyes, she can't see who summoned her. Then the water starts to stir and a man appears. rising from the water's ripples. She stares at the broken face. One eye, apparently injured in some long-ago accident, is shut. The other, taunting her with its evilness. A large wart on his forehead is only overpowered by this scar stretching across his cheek. Out of the corner of her eye, she spots the groundskeeper and tries to break away from the force she finds enveloping her mind. A force so engulfing that it pulls her to the water's edge. She sees the beauty of the rippling water and feels an almost overpowering urge to slip into its unspoken promise of safety. As she is about to enter into the velvety softness of the lake, a cat streaks by behind her, scared by some unheard noise in the night, and breaks her from her trance. She gathers her wits quickly and races off towards the groundskeeper. He's the only one here to help me, she thinks, getting closer to him with every stride. Begging for his help as she runs towards him, she doesn't notice that he seems not to hear. She only knows that a few more footsteps and she can be safe again. A few more steps to someone who will guide her out of this garden of terror. A few more steps and she's on her way home. Just a few more steps. As she reaches him, she feels her burning lungs about to explode. Her air supply exhausted by the marathon gait she never knew she was capable of. Her hands grab at the cape that he wears, protection against the cold night air. "Help me, please," she stammers. "I need your help to get out of here." He slowly turns around and her body shudders uncontrollably as she stares into the face of death. The last thing she hears is the unmistakable voice offering his frightful greeting, "Welcome."